Hello everybody, welcome back to another World of Warships Legends video. Today we are talking about Queen Mary, the new tier 4 British battlecruiser that you can get for free if you win a hard game of the current Halloween event, that is. So it is quite literally a free ship, so you should definitely get it, there's no reason not to. Besides, the Halloween game mode is actually quite fun this year. Anyway, our commander for this video is Jackie Fisher, who I highly recommend for all British battleships, and personally I'd run Flammable Cannoneer, Dance with Death, Reformer, Master Mechanic, and Fight Fire with Fire. Now, normally on British battlecruisers I go for maximum speed, both because that's quite funny and surprisingly effective. But unlike her textured counterparts, and for the rest of the British battlecruisers for that matter, Queen Mary doesn't have an engine boost, which makes Jackie Fisher's unique skill, Speed is my armour, largely redundant. And as a result, I use Andrew Cunningham and Angelo Iacchino instead, to really lean into accuracy. Statistically, Queen Mary surprisingly has the 5th highest hit point pool at the tier, 48,800, and her main battery range is, I think it's just under 14.8 kilometers or something. And it's 14.8 with aiming systems on anyway, which is pretty average. Queen Mary has pretty low DPM though, it's about 161,000 with this build, if my calculations aren't, incorrect. She doesn't hit particularly hard either. She only has 8 guns, and whilst those guns are 13.5 inches or some weird caliber like that, they don't have very good alpha strike capabilities. Despite not having an engine boost, as previously mentioned, she is still the 3rd fastest battleship at the tier. I think she's slightly slower than Congo and slower than Tiger. But she is, obviously, again, still a 3rd fastest battleship at the tier, so you should probably make good use of that. She doesn't turn great, 9th best rudder shift at the tier at 13.3 seconds, and her turning circle is actually pretty bad. 740 meters, which at higher tiers would be quite good, but at lower tiers, with the rest of the dreadnoughts, of which many turn on a dime, it just doesn't cut it really. Queen Mary is just a bit too long to turn particularly well. But there are 2 stats I would like to draw your attention to. First of all, concealment, and your eyes don't deceive you. 11.6 kilometers is far and away the best for a battleship at the tier, and if you are interested, if you ran a maxed out Nobutake Kondo and Sversky inspirations for maximum concealment, you can get that down to about 10 kilometers. Secondly, your effective hit point pool is 80,000 by default. That's with 2 heals, which is what the ship comes with, which is the best at the tiers, just barely slightly edging out Congo, I think. But, well, you use Jackie Fisher, and he gives you an extra 2 heals with Master Mechanic, and those heals are even stronger. And if we adjust the chart to account for that, your effective hit point pool is approximately 112,000. And I think that should say enough. Anyway, the actual game here, we've spawned at A on the map straight. This is going to be an up tier and tier 5 game. Everyone on this side seems to have disappeared immediately. It seems to be a bit of a weird theme with this map. Everyone who spawns at A just kind of drifts off to the middle eventually. Anyways, we did dispatch the Omaha with relative ease, although unfortunately no dev strike, which is quite rare. We did get some nice beautiful shots here at Nevada's broadside. This is a carrier game, by the way, and I haven't mentioned yet, Queen Mary's AA is, if I'm not mistaken, pretty bad, because she appears in games I think she did in 1916, so, well, that's basically before planes were really anything to worry about. Anyway, there is a massive group of enemy battleships just kind of sitting just below B, so we're going to try and use our speed to get some shots at the broadside here. I'll say this in advance, I've started switching on Queen Mary specifically as well, between ammo types, because the HE is fine. I'm pretty sure it's a regular British battlecruiser HE, which, if I'm not mistaken, generally has an increased fire chance and increased damage, but unlike the battleships, they don't have increased penetration. But your guns are 13.5 inches, or some weird caliber like that. So at this tier, it doesn't really matter. You can basically, hit the majority of ships and pen them with the high explosive. As you can see, I'm switching to the HE already, because on the map the New Mexico is just currently kind of sitting, angling away. The Nevada's already dead, so it's just the New Mexico, and I think it's a Queen Mary over here. Anyway, the New Mexico is a bit more broadside than I expected him to be. But we are just going to stick with the HE, because we do set a fire, and I think, yes, he does, he puts that out immediately. So we're just going to wait to try and get a perma burner on him. I feel like the dispersion on the ship is actually quite poor, but the shell grouping is quite good. We are unlucky to not get a permafire there, and we only got 4 shell hits, unfortunately. So, talking about Queen Mary's survivability, it's kind of iffy. As I previously mentioned, the hit point pool is actually quite good, but the armor is incredibly bad. There is no icebreaker, unfortunately, and the bow and stern plating is 16mm, so practically, well, every battleship you will see is going to overmatch you. We did get perma double fire there on New Mexico. We're going to load AP now to get a shot at the Queen Mary. The belt's not particularly good. It is a battle cruiser, so the armor's not great. The belt's not very good, and the bow and stern plating is, again, very poor. So you don't do particularly well under fire, although, again, you do have those heals, and they are really good heals. I didn't actually notice how good the heals were, really, in my first time playing this ship. Like most British battlecruiser, heals, or British heals in general, they restore fully fire damage and flooding damage. Less so penetration damage, and especially not citadel damage. But you don't actually have to worry about being citadel that much, because despite Queen Mary, of course, being a poorly armoured ship and notoriously exploding violently in real life, she doesn't have a very big citadel, I'm pretty sure. Similar to Tiger and Renown, it's just kind of on the waterline or just slightly below it, so getting citadel isn't exactly the biggest problem this ship faces. And of course, the armour, when angled, is of course still well enough. It's good enough to bounce. New Mexico's going to angle in here, so we're going to switch to high explosive. We get 4 pens, some decent damage. I do suggest revolving between ammunition types. I think it's best that way. Up to 92k damage, and it really doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's been quite a bit of a tame game so far, but it's going alright. Now, New Mexico actually fires HE at us, which is odd, because he can very much overmatch us. So, I'm just going to talk about YouTube for a second. I was going to make a Michelangelo video, but at roughly the time I got Michelangelo, and was working on doing a Michelangelo video, I had a few clips for it, and I fell ill with COVID, and that wasn't particularly fun. I'm still slightly sick with COVID, not entirely, but obviously I didn't really want to make a video. Close quarters expert, by the way, very funny. I didn't want to make a video whilst ill, obviously, it just didn't sound very good. I don't think I'm the most energetic and joyous person. Well, I am, I just don't have the most energetic and joyous voice on the planet anyway. And, if I'm already tired because I am sick with COVID, it probably wouldn't be a very good listen. And we do pick up the kill on the carrier.
Enemy aircraft carrier sunk.
No better sound than that in a game, in my opinion. Unfortunately, though, we will not manage to get the Kraken as the Congo. I'm pretty sure, I can't even remember what happens. All I know is that we don't get any more damage for the rest of this game, so I'll just cut to the end screen now. So that was my first game in Queen Mary, actually. I decided to just use this one, because I was still really getting a feel for the ship. Actually, no, I tell a lie. It wasn't my first game. I think it was my second game. My second game was a lot more mid. Anyway, 102,000 damage. That's a decent number for an up tier, I think, especially when you're in tier 4, and we get 2020 base XP for it. That's the year my channel was founded. Anyway, I'm going to be trying a new formula for this, so what I'm going to do for this next game is I'm just going to play it straight with no audio commentary. Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoy.
Action stations.
Kamerad, ich brauche Ihre Unterstützung. Enemy force sighted on the horizon. We've been spotted. Setzen Sie eine Nebelwand. Fire! Enemy destroyer sighted.
I need your support.
Enemy destroyer. Torpedoes dead ahead.
Enemy destroyer blown up.
Main turret critically damaged.
We destroyed an enemy battleship.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship. Enemy cruiser sighted. Fire! Problem solved, sir.
Enemy battleship sunk.
I need intelligence data. All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Torpedoes astern. Torpedoes to port. Hull breach. We're taking to water. Problem solved, sir.
So, I do think that Queen Mary is a very cool ship, and it's actually quite generous of Wargaming to give her away for free, although they do actually normally do that for many Halloween ships, I guess. Genova, I think, Bellerophon as well. Bellerophon was an event currency ship, I think. Anyway, Queen Mary, she's very good, she's very comfortable, I think. If you're a new player, then it's basically a must-have. It's a must-have anyway, if it's free, really. She's pretty easy to learn, rewards you if you do well, and, well, she actually doesn't punish you very hard if you do poorly, because there is no citadel, really. I say that, I'll play the ship later today, and I'll be dev-struck. Anyway, actually, one complaint I do have about this ship is that there is no historical camo, just this purple one, which is quite nice. I mean, I like it. Twitch camo or something. But there's no historical camo, which is very unfortunate, and I do like my historical camos. I always use a historical camo if I can. But that's besides the point. I hope you did enjoy this video, and this new theme I've got going on, I'm trying to experiment with. I'll see you all very shortly. I plan to stream again soon, so I hope to see you there. Toodaloo, au revoir, bye bye.